Nigeria President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has denied being invited by the United States, U.S. President Donald Trump to a working visit to the White House, following a media statement circulated on the internet claiming to have been issued by the office of the Nigeria President. A spokesperson to the President, Bayo Onanuga, in a swift reaction on Sunday, said, "Those behind the press release are clickbaiters," adding, "The Nigeria has not received any of such letters of invitation from the US President." Bayo Onanuga, who described the writers of the press release as fake news propagators, said, "The law would soon catch up with the person or people behind the false and misleading information. Disinformation agents, hoax peddlers, fake news propagators, clickbaiters at work again. Whoever you are, one day, the law will catch you," Bayo Onanuga stated. Meanwhile, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has said that under his administration, Nigeria is not just one-party state but one party, making a difference. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu stated this during the week, according to the news release made available to the public by the Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga. According to the statement, President Bola Tinubu has attributed the All Progressives Congress, APC's growing support to its outstanding achievements in less than 2 years in office, assuring Nigerians that the country will not become a one-party state. At the APC Renewed Hope Agenda Summit, held at the State House Conference Center on Thursday, President Tinubu addressed party leaders, the National Working Committee, the leadership of the National Assembly, and the Progressive Governors Forum, which comprises 22 governors. All collectively endorsed him for a second term. The party convened the summit to review the administration's 2-year performance across key economic sectors. The president said his administration's focus on economic reforms for long-term gains has continued to receive positive reviews from within and outside the country. A one-party system is not suitable for democracy. We are one party ruling and carrying on with the aspirations of Nigerians. You don't expect people to remain in a sinking ship without a life jacket. I am happy with what we have accomplished and expecting more people to come. That's the game," he added. President Tinubu said citizens have the constitutional right to choose between associations. "I thank every one of you. I am thoroughly inspired. We are just halfway through the journey that started 24 months ago," he said. The president thanked members of the Federal Executive Council for courageously pursuing the vision of a better Nigeria and the party leadership and National Assembly for their support. "Together, we pledge to confront Nigeria's challenges head-on by rebuilding the trust, fostering prosperity and restoring our nation's economic quest. Today, I am proud to affirm that our economic reforms are working. Nothing good comes easy in life. All of you have been through life, and sometimes, only hard decisions can make things easy in the future. We couldn't just afford to spend the future of our children and unborn babies. Through our Renewed Hope agenda, our administration pledged to tackle economic instability, improve security nationwide, reduce corruption, reform governance, and lift our people out of poverty. How fast could you have rebuilt this country? If you allow the arbitrage in the exchange rate to continue, that is the grandfather of corruption. You could see EFCC recover over 750-something houses from one person," he said. The president admitted that the reforms were tough decisions but assured Nigerians they were necessary. "Yes, we encountered challenges when we assumed office in May 2023, but we have made progress by implementing difficult, long overdue but necessary economic reforms. We have eliminated the arbitrage-driven multiple foreign exchanges, and our far-reaching tax reforms are coming. Because of the reforms, our country now attracts foreign direct investments that will ultimately create jobs and produce much-needed goods and services that will significantly improve the standard of living of our people," he said. The Progressives Governors Forum chairman and Imo State Governor, Hope Uzodimma, said the president had provided inspiring and visionary leadership and deserved a second term in 2027. He thus moved a motion passing a vote of confidence in the president and endorsing him for the 2027 race. Governor of Kaduna State, Senator Uba Sani, seconded the motion. The President of the Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio, and the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Right Honorable Tajuddin Abbas, also praised the President for purposeful and inclusive leadership. The leaders of the National Assembly said they would support the President for a second term in office and also moved a motion to endorse him. The APC chairman, Abdullahi Ganduje, who led the NWC members to endorse President Tinubu for a second term, said the President would be the party's sole candidate for the 2027 presidential elections. I urge all members to reject internal sabotage, engage communities, listen to citizens, and build a political structure beyond elections, the former Kano state governor added. Ganduje urged members to renew their commitment to the principles that united the party and inspired its formation. Let us rally behind President Bola Tinubu, support our policies, and deliver the renewed hope Nigerians rightfully deserve, he stated. The conference reviewed key sectors, including health, infrastructure, and security. Nigerian Army, in a series of reports during the week, says its troops have killed over 44 terrorists in different locations in Borno, Katsina and Sokoto states days after Boko Haram terrorists had on May 12 and 13, 2025 sacked the Armed Forces of Nigeria, AFN military base in Wulgo town, a Nigeria border town in Borno State of Ngala Local Government Area, a throwstone to Cameroon in the shores of Lake Chad. Also, the Boko Haram terrorists attacked and sacked the 3 Battalion, a military formation in Rann, headquarters of Kala-Balge Local Government Area in Borno State, and the military base in Marte town in Marte Local Government Area of Borno State, killing soldiers, overrunning the military formations, stealing arms and ammunitions, and setting the military buildings ablaze, including the armed forces' operational vehicles, with the Governor of Borno State, Professor Babagana Zulum, saying, the Boko Haram terrorists in recent days are currently in control of 299 communities out of a total of 300 communities in the Marte Local Government Area of Borno State, meaning, the federal government under the leadership of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu is barely and currently controlling one community after the Nigeria Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, whose supporters are apparently busy talking and preparing his re-election ahead of the country 2027 general elections, had lost territories to terrorists, and the Boko Haram terrorists appeared aggressively advancing and retaking more territories in Nigeria. The Nation newspaper on May 21, 2025 reported that the Borno State Governor, Babagana Zulum, continued his visit to communities affected by the recent surge in Boko Haram attacks by traveling to Wulgo town yesterday. Wulgo, located on the fringes of Lake Chad, was recently attacked by armed insurgents, forcing troops of the multinational Joint Task Force, hitherto protecting the town, to retreat. By visiting Marte, Kala-Balge, and now Wulgo, Zulum aims to achieve a unified front in the fight against insecurity and to stimulate local support for sustainable peace and development. During his tour, the governor engaged with local leaders, listening to their concerns. He announced plans to accelerate the deployment of humanitarian aid, strengthen security efforts, and provide modern irrigation and rain farm implements to facilitate economic revitalization in the town. The governor emphasized the importance of community-led resilience programs while also encouraging residents to take an active role in shaping the recovery of their town. On May 19, 2025, Push newspaper reported that the Borno State Governor, Professor Babagana Zulum, has raised the alarm that only one town out of 300 remains under government control in Marte Local Government Area, warning that Boko Haram terrorists are on the brink of taking over the entire local government area. The governor issued the warning on Sunday following his visit to the area, where he appealed to the federal government to urgently deploy decisive strategies to prevent Marte town from falling completely into the hands of Boko Haram, ISWAP insurgents. Public Relations Unit of the Nigerian Army reported that, in another daring operation, the gallant troops of Joint Task Force Northwest Operation Fasan Yama successfully assaulted terrorist enclaves in Ruan Godia, Faskari Local Government Area of Katsina State, on the 23rd of May 2025. The troops subdued the terrorists in a fierce firefight, forcing them to abandon their base and flee. During the ensuing pursuit, 21 terrorists were neutralized, with some succumbing to drowning in a nearby river. The operation also yielded a significant seizure of large cache of arms and ammunition, including guns, rifles, magazines, explosives, communication devices, mobile phones, and motorcycles. Details later. At about 1 a.m. today, the 23rd of May 2025, gallant troops of Operation Haddon Kai sighted a group of ISWAP Boko Haram terrorists in Damboa and immediately engaged them with sustained indirect fire. The main thrust of the attack targeted the brigade, prompting the swift deployment of air support to assist ground forces. After approximately 2 hours of intense engagement, the terrorists were forced to retreat after suffering casualties. Troops successfully neutralized 16 terrorists in the encounter and are currently conducting a pursuit operation. Although an ammunition storage area was hit during the exchange, it was quickly brought under control with no further escalation. In a decisive blow against terrorism, troops of Operation Haddon Kai, in conjunction with the Civilian Joint Task Force, CJTF, have successfully engaged and neutralized several Boko Haram, ISWAP terrorists in separate operations. On May 21, 2025, troops encountered terrorists attempting to loot food items from a broken-down civilian vehicle in Rann. The swift response of the troops resulted in the elimination of 6 terrorists and the recovery of some AK-47 rifles with ammunition. In a related development, troops of the Forward Operating Base, FOB, MOLAI, along with the CJTF, conducted a successful ambush at a terrorist crossing point near Komala, along the Maiduguri-Damboa Road. The ambush resulted in the neutralization of some terrorists and the recovery of several motorcycles and IED materials intended for burial by the terrorists. In a significant blow to notorious terrorist leader, Bello Turji, his key ally Al-Haji Shaudo Alku has been confirmed killed in an airstrike. The air component of Operation Fasan Yama conducted the strike on May 18, 2025, targeting terrorists near Tunfa Primary School in Isa Local Government Area, Sokoto State. Alku, invited from Niger Republic for a meeting, died alongside several men and unconfirmed commanders. This development is part of ongoing efforts to disrupt terrorist operations in the region. Further details will follow. It would be recalled that the terrorists launched a surprise assault on some of the country's military forward operating bases, killing 5 soldiers, looting arms, and escaping with military vehicles and newly issued motorbikes. The attack left the base in ruins, forcing some soldiers to abandon the duty posts and flee to their hometowns, according to local residents. Meanwhile, the Boko Haram terrorists, in a statement after the attack, said they ran over Rann Marte military base and killed many soldiers. The group, in a message shared via its Telegram channel as reported by Daily Post, stated that its fighters stormed the military base in the early hours of Monday. It also claimed that its fighters engaged Nigerian soldiers in a fierce gun battle that lasted for about an hour, after which they reportedly took control of the base, killing many troops, and prompting others to flee. As at the time of filing in this news report on Saturday night, leaders in the European countries have kept mum ever since. On Friday, the United States, US President Donald Trump announced plans to impose 50% tariff on goods not made in the North America country that comes from European countries, with a specific threat to impose 25% tariff on Apple if the iPhone manufacturer does not move production to the United States. President Donald Trump based his actions on what he claimed to be cases of unfair and unjustified lawsuits filed by the European countries against American companies, among other reasons, but it could be recalled that earlier in the month of April 2025, when President Trump issued the first tariff threat of 25% on European goods, the immediate past Germany Chancellor Olaf Scholz had said that even if European countries did nothing in response to Donald Trump-imposed tariffs, the increased tariffs will cause a big problems in the US economy, adding that Trump intending tariff increment on EU goods is an economic error, and the European Commission President, Ursula von der Leyen, had also in early April 2025 said that the EU countries is the largest single market in the world and the EU have what it takes to retaliate or strike back. President Donald Trump on Friday threatened tech giant Apple with a 25% tariff if the iPhone manufacturer doesn't move production to the United States. He later said trade talks with the European Union were progressing so poorly that a 50% tariff should be imposed next week, June 1, 2025. President Trump proposed that Apple build its iPhones in the US or face a 25% tariff. Tech analysts say that would balloon prices to $3,500 per phone, according to CNN senior data analyst Harry Enton, who analyzed the possible impacts the US president action may cause the North American residents. President Donald Trump has said he is recommending imposing 50% tariffs on goods from the European Union being imported to the United States. Our discussions with them are going nowhere, he said in a post on social media on Friday. The announcement marks an escalation of Trump's trade war with the EU, which has already been hit with a blanket 20% tariff on all US exports, according to US media. Their powerful trade barriers, VAT taxes, ridiculous corporate penalties, non-monetary trade barriers, monetary manipulations, unfair and unjustified lawsuits against Americans' companies, and more, have led to a trade deficit with the US of more than $250 million a year, a number which is totally unacceptable, he wrote in a Truth Social post on Friday morning. Our discussions with them are going nowhere, Trump wrote. Therefore, I am recommending a straight 50% tariff on the European Union, starting on June 1, 2025. The tariff Trump is considering slapping on the EU is more than double the size of the 20% initial, reciprocal, tariff that was briefly in place in April before he swiftly paused those tariffs to allow for further negotiations, CNN stated. The pause is set to expire on July 9. Since the pause, the only trade deal that's been announced is with the United Kingdom. Meanwhile, US Senator Maria Cantwell issued statement on Trump's 50% EU tariff threat and said thus: Americans already face a summer of high prices. It is not the time to be threatening new tariffs that drive prices even higher. The European Union is a $19 trillion market with 448 million potential customers for US exports. And it has been an important US ally. Now the EU is getting ready for a new trade war when we should be focused on working together to confront Russia and other global challenges, the US Senator, Maria Cantwell, ranking member of the Senate Committee on Commerce, Science, and Transportation and senior member of the Senate Finance Committee, released this statement in regarding President Trump's threat to impose a 50% tariffs on imports from the European Union. Earlier in April 2025, the European Commission President, Ursula von der Leyen, had said at a gathering that many Europeans feel disheartened by the new US tariffs. Europe didn't start this, but we have what we need. The biggest single market, the leverage to negotiate, the means to strike back. We'll defend our interests. The US has announced 25% tariffs on steel, aluminum, cars, and parts. They plan to extend duties to semiconductors, pharmaceuticals, and timber. On April 2, 2025, we expect further tariffs on almost all goods, affecting many countries worldwide. In response to US tariffs, we'll act on 3 fronts. We're open to talks, but ready to hit back. We'll expand trade with other partners. And we'll strengthen the EU single market, remove barriers, grow our scale, boost competitiveness. We don't want a trade war. The US-EU trade flow is nearly balanced. But let's be clear, we didn't start this. If needed, we have a strong retaliation plan. And we will use it, Ursula had stated in early April 2025. We had reported that the escalating trade war between the two biggest economies in the world, China and the United States, US may take a new twist as the China leader, Xi Jinping on Friday for the first time issued a public statement in reaction to President Donald Trump's continuous issuance of apparently outrageous self-imposed tariffs on goods exported by other countries to the US, with the president stating clearly to Trump that China is not afraid of US. This is in addition to Jinping's earlier statement he issued on November 5, 2018 during the first tenure of President Donald Trump that the Chinese economy is an ocean and not a pond, that China economy can withstand strong winds and storms.
And because of this collective experience of the last, almost 75 years, so many Europeans feel utterly disheartened by the announcement from the United States. Let me be clear, Europe did not start this confrontation. We think it is wrong. But my message to you today is that we have everything we need to protect our people and our prosperity. We have the largest single market in the world. We have the strength to negotiate. We have the power to push back. And the people of Europe should know that together we will always promote and defend our interests and our values, and together we will always stand up for our Europe.
Bringing you the news in a more digital way.